In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody. Hello there, Defenders. Welcome to your favorite podcast, Defend Your Movie. I am one of your hosts, joined here by the other host of the podcast, Andy Fiore, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, everybody.
Why are you giggling?
Sometimes your intros make me laugh. I don't know.
Not just me being boisterous.
You remember like 6 months ago, I couldn't get through one straight face.
I know, yeah. You do laugh right away.
It's just, I know. It is so lovable. You go into this mood where you just go, okay.
All right, here we go. Oh, yeah, before we start, I go, you ready to start? And I go, hello there! Here's this cartoon dog that hosts this podcast.
It's cartoon.
Welcome to Pleasantville. Whatever cartoon world is.
Yeah, great to see you, my friend.
Great to see you, buddy. I think we have a great week this week. I think we have a good matchup. We might get
Good
shit.
matchup.
We might get shit for this matchup.
Yeah, I think it'll unfold the reasons why we paired them up.
I think it definitely makes sense why we paired them up.
Yeah.
I think they're I think they're different movies. I take the one side. The more I think about it, the more I get involved. The more I get passionate about it. The more I think
excuses.
about it. No. I'm saying of my pick.
Okay.
So it'll be a good conversation. I think I have
Yes.
a couple different reasons about why I like the one over the other.
I like when you do your homework.
I was never a fan of homework.
No, me neither. Those are the only things I care about. That was the weird thing. When I was a student, if it was a class I liked, I would A+. I would go into it, and it was like anything that was required, or intro to.
For me, it was always creative writing. I loved it when you had to write stories for classes. Loved it. I had one in college that was like a creative writing course. It was like a pretty intense one. It was amazing. I loved it. Yeah, and I did more than the amount that you had to do. Like I was handing in stories left and right. He was like, "Yeah, just do the required amount." I can't read 15 stories for you. I'm like, "Yeah, let me do a couple more." You know. But yeah, I know what you mean and it's also funny because it kind of ties into a friend of ours. A friend of ours has a special out that just came out. Gary Gulman, who is one of the best comics in the world, and he's an amazing person, an amazing comic, and just so much different than every other stand-up that's out there. Probably every other stand-up in history. I think he probably has elements of people in him.
Very unique style.
So unique and so amazing.
And what a crisp, like clean writer. Every word is in every place for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really masterful.
It's really like...
I finally watched it last night. It's called The Great Depression. It's on HBO, if you have it. And if you can't, try and find somebody who's got an HBO Go password.
Yeah, watch it.
It is all about his battle with depression, but it's hilarious. And it's really done in a cool way because they actually do like asides where they go to Gary's childhood home. Yeah. They talk to his wife and they really reveal parts of like his biggest, like most recent struggles.
So he does a lot of it's about his illness, but a lot of it is also from growing up.
Yeah.
And why he thinks that he never had any help for this when he was a kid.
Right. Yeah.
But the reason I bring up the special, not only just because I want you guys to watch it, if you're a fan of stand up and a fan of us, trust us, watch this special.
Absolutely.
It's so much different than all the other comedy specials you've seen, and it's just from an amazing comedian and a great friend. But what I was going to say is he has this great bit that like people. He's a little bit older than I am. He's a few years older than me, Gary. So he has this great bit about like when you realize that you at the end of your weekend. So like the 60 minutes. You probably know this too. Like the 60 minutes opening from the TV show 60 Minutes signified the end of your weekend. And I was like, when I first heard that, I lost my shit.
So funny.
Oh my God.
That was appointment viewing for my parents, and you go. It's that Pavlovian thing where you just go, oh, that clock
your
ticking.
stomach drops,
Yeah.
and you're like, and one of the lines is he says, "Did I do all my homework?" That's what you're thinking of when you said it. You can't not. You just don't want to go to school the next day. That you're just dreading it. So. Watch The Great Depression if you can. Andy, did you watch any movies this week?
No, other than the one that we heavily teased in last week's episode. I watched Gary's special, The Great Depression. I didn't see anything else other than we had a fun day last Friday. We talked about it last week. Sean and I went to see The Joker.
We sure did.
It makes me mad when people write The Joker. I go, it's Joker, stand
Joker.
alone.
And also, I want to talk about that. I think that's on purpose, too. I think it's purposely not The Joker.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I wish we had a bumper we could do right now that says, spoiler heavy.
So,
spoiler.
This is your warning, guys.
This is your warning.
I know it's a little early. It's only the first weekend, but this is your spoiler. It's going to get real heavy spoiler reviews right now. In the description of the show, I'll timestamp it for you guys for when it's safe to when we get to the meats and potatoes. So if you have seen it and you want to stay in the conversation, keep listening, but turn it off and I will come back. Just make sure you read the show description on the app for the timestamp so you can fast forward and tune back in.
Perfect. Yeah. That's amazing.
My gift to you.
That's my gift to you.
Because you don't want to miss the meats. Good meats and pizza.
Take the pen.
There it is. Take it.
He goes, come on, yeah. We saw Joker together. Yep. We saw it at the Regal
Kaufman.
Regal, which is a great theater because it's like a suburban theater. I love going there.
It's our local theater in our neighborhood.
Yeah, it's always quiet around there. I love it. It's just great. It's never that packed.
No, we went to the 1 p.m. showing.
1 p.m. showing on a Friday, I think, right?
Yep.
It was that Friday. And we both were pretty much... What's up?
I was thinking, it was funny, too, because we live in a very comedian-heavy neighborhood, and we were talking to our buddy Nathan McIntosh, and he's like, I almost went to that showing.
Like, yeah. Everybody's on the same page.
The other day.
Comedians always have the thing where they're like, where's the least amount of people?
Yeah.
Let me go to that.
I was thinking about when we left the theater, we were talking about it, and we were both like we were walking silently because I think we were both thinking about the movie. And then we're like, should we get a bite to eat around here? And in the area of the theater, it's mostly like chain restaurants and stuff like that. And then right next door, there's just a strip club. And it is blatantly daylight out. And we, at one point, admittedly, I was like, should we?
And it's so funny that it's right there. It's in the middle of like a family entertainment
school
center.
Let out. There was school children running around.
They must be grandfathered into that location because
the Riviera.
Literally the Riviera in the story is still open, I think, as a strip club.
Yeah.
And you were like, you want to go to the strip club? And I was like,
I'm not even a big strip club guy. I was just like, it'll be great for the pod.
We almost, it'd be a good story. We almost went. We almost went. But besides that, it's like next to an Applebee's. Like it's a weird.
It literally is.
And I know now there's all sorts of rules where strip clubs can be. They must have just been there. They must have opened that stuff around the strip club.
Here's the thing. It's very discreet. It's like, it says Riviera, but it's not like nudie pictures on the walls.
No.
It doesn't even say like XXX nudes.
No.
It's just, you have to know it's a strip club. If you just walked by it, it could be a nightclub.
Yeah, it could be like a wedding venue. Like it could be like
and
that.
And I think it's probably they had to comply to like some sort of rules. They were like, all right, if you're here, but you can't have...
No titty pictures on the walls, fellas.
There's other strip clubs in Queens. Like when you come off the 1590 Street Bridge...
Oh, it's right there.
Show Palace.
Show Palace.
And that one doesn't hold back at all.
I see it every time. I told you did I tell that story on the podcast?
Did you go there by yourself?
I was with Nathan. No, I didn't go by myself.
Somebody did.
I've never been in that place.
Me neither. I go by it every day when I go home.
But when I was a kid, I was like 19, 20, we used to go to Wiggles, which was on Queens Boulevard. Which is, I try to do a joke about it, saying that's what you want in a strip club, the name of a children's TV show. But we were like, when you're 18, you're just like, I really love it, and it was like this non-alcoholic strip club where like they could get all nude or whatever it was. So me and my friends went when we were like maybe 20, maybe 19, 20, whatever it was, right? So we would go to this place, Wiggles, and there was always this like really. This one of the bouncers was really scary. And one time, my friend John was in there and he was tired. He was just kind of sitting against the wall. And the girl comes over to ask my friend John, "Do you want a lap dance?" And he was like, "No, I'm okay, thank you." And the big Russian bouncer comes over and he goes, if they don't want anything, you don't bug them. You leave them alone. Like he says in his accent. They don't want anything, you leave them alone. To the girl. And then my friend John was like, no, it's fine. I'm fine. He's like, no, she should not bother you. And he's like, no, it's fine, whatever. So I always remember this guy's face for some reason because it was like so scary, right? So one day I'm in an Uber with Nathan McIntosh, of all people who just mentioned, a very funny comic that we know. We're coming off the bridge, and it's a kind of a weird sound area because you're under the bridge kind of still, and the show palace is right there, and if there's not a lot of traffic going on with beeping and stuff, you can kind of hear what people are saying in the cars. So I'm in the car with the window open. I go, that guy used to work at Wiggles. And I pointed to the big Russian was outside Show Palace, another club. And I went, that guy used to work at Wiggles. He goes, yes, I did. And then he walks over and he goes, yeah, I used to see you there. Like when I was like 20 years old, he goes, yes, I worked there for 14 years.
Sean, good to see you.
Good to see you, Sean. He goes, hold on. He goes, you come here? I go, no, we're not coming. He goes, I'll get you passes. And he runs in to get us free passes. And then Nathan, who doesn't live that far from the bridge, goes, I gotta go. And
he's not going.
He gets out of the he gets out of the car to go home, to walk home.
Yeah, he's not.
No. I wasn't gonna go either. I was just gonna take the passes. I was waiting for the pass. I was just gonna, because I felt bad, and I thought this big Russian guy would beat me up.
That's
so he comes
funny.
back out with the passes, gives me, and I drove home. But like, I was like, how did he hear me so clearly? And there is a weird. It's
because
quiet
you
over
come
there.
off. There's a stop. It's a T section stop.
Yeah.
And you stop. You're looking at the Show Palace.
You're right in front of Show Palace. But I said it like I didn't say it low, but I think it also kind of, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's not that far across.
It's right there. You're right there.
You know why that's my favorite intersection?
Why?
Because you can turn right on red in New York.
That is a right on red intersection. It's like
I love it.
It's like 3 of them in the whole city. There's also one. Apparently,
Sorry,
there's
that got very
in the Bronx. There's a left on red in the Bronx.
I love it even more.
But anyway, so we were going to go to the strip club in Astoria. That's a whole tangent. But we didn't go.
We did see the movie.
We did see the movie, and we both were pretty much on the same page.
I loved it.
I absolutely loved it.
Adored it.
My opinion was it gave me. It's what I thought it would be. It delivered. It gave me what I wanted.
Agreed.
The more I talked to people about it, I talked to a friend of the pod, Pat Stango, who does How to Watch Movies the Right Way. They do their pod with Greg and the whole crew over there. And I was talking to him about it, and he brought up his theory. He kept saying his theory was, it's all made up. It's all made up. And I kept being like, well, it can't all be made up because Thomas Wayne is in it, and then that means that if the Batman universe is in it, it's an origin story, right?
Yes, and we have had a few conversations now. You called me all excited on Sunday night when you heard this.
When I was talking to him about it, I was so thrilled.
And I was talking to another friend of ours, comic Big J. Okerson, last night. And
Did he see it? He saw it.
He saw it, and he was telling me, he goes, I think at the end, that part where he is in Arkham and he's telling her, I heard a joke. He goes, oh, it's a joke. You wouldn't get it. She goes, what are you laughing at? The theory is that it was all made up in his head.
Yes.
Which, as a device, I don't love that, and I don't think it is true.
The reason why
anymore.
It works here. Oh, you don't think it's true anymore?
No, I don't. I never really bought it. I agree that it could be a possibility. I think the movie is linear, and I'll tell you, I have a couple reasons why. Because A, what you were just saying, then in the movie we do see those Bruce Wayne, Thomas Wayne origins, the Batman origin.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't think Todd Phillips would use that like it was all a dream kind of device. Here's the other major thing somebody pointed out to me was when you see that Arkham and you see him go to Arkham to get his mother's files, they're very different. The hallways, one is like dingy and yellow, and that one was like pristine.
Right.
So
does Jay think it was
that kind of lends itself to?
It does. Because here's the thing: they mentioned how he was committed before, and they show him a shot of him banging the glass door with his head, and he smashes it, and he's in white. And he's in white, and the surroundings of him is white. At one point, the social worker, the one from the beginning of the movie that he goes to the appointments with, that the funding gets cut and he can't go anymore.
Right.
He's off his meds. So at that point, she said, at one point during one of their things, she goes, well, you've been committed before. And then you just see, there's a quick shot of him, boom, cracking the window with his head. cracking like one of those like a glass pane on like a door in a hospital or in an office building or whatever it is, and then but it's all very pristine around him for a split second. So it does, but what it does is it matches the final interview room and look of him from the end of it. Now, I think what we came up with, I was talking to Pat, is this. Very easily, I think what could happen, not that the whole movie's made up, it could be in the Batman world, it could be in the, before Batman's a thing, it's totally still could be that, right?
Yeah,
but here's the thing. What I think what happens is the third act is made up. Because what happens is this. Already, because you're saying it's linear, it's not,
okay,
because it's such an unreliable narrator. That's what people keep mentioning in these reviews.
Yeah.
It's such an unreliable narrator. You don't even know if the thing in front of Wayne Manor happened.
Right.
The thing is this, it's also that's a weird scene, because like, how did he get up there? What is going on now? How is he choking this dude through the thing, but he's too weak to beat up these kids in the alleyway? You know, he's in control. Every time it's a dream, he's in control.
It's a great point.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that could have been a dream. The girlfriend I knew right away was a dream. But what makes more sense to me would be if after he kills Randall in his apartment, he's there, he gets caught, the whole chase to the TV, him being ready to dance down the stairs, the whole third act is in his head.
I buy that more than the entire thing.
I don't think the entire thing's made
I like
up.
that a lot because, yeah, you do see very different circumstances that he could clearly be making up in his head versus things that are definitely real.
Yeah, absolutely. And also you see, when he's dancing down those stairs, he's off his meds, it's lit differently, it's that long stairway, he's in that pristine outfit, everything's confidence.
He's looking down.
I'm not looking down. I didn't look down. I didn't look down at all. Shut up.
I got another rip in my jeans. Sorry, everybody.
But what happens is
this. So Murray Franklin show never happened?
No. So he was always a fan, but that's the other thing. That,
I mean, in that
even that has a surreal thing to it, where it's like, here's the thing: two things of that, and that third act makes no sense to me. A lot of things make no sense to me, but even the cop getting stabbed. Why wasn't there backup called in to come after this guy after he got stabbed in a chase? Even though they were chasing him,
I think there was.
The police department. But why wouldn't they have I
think that's nitpicking. I mean, they were on the subway trying to a packed subway. Full of other clowns. I don't know.
It just seems too convenient that he runs from these clowns and he.
You have to make it.
What?
You have to make a few exceptions to carry the movie along.
But it's still surreal. It's still kind of surreal. Being on the show is surreal. What he actually ended up doing is surreal. Him killing him thing is kind of surreal, you know,
sure.
The whole feel of it is surreal, but the feel of him in the real world it's kind of like the Matrix versus the real world in the Matrix, where it's all the real world stuff is very drab, and he's so weak and he's so nothing. Now, granted, you can say the reason it changes is because he's off his meds, he's become complete Joker. But the other thing is this. Another great point, really quickly, that Pat brought up is this, because I said, nah, man, it's linear, and at the end he becomes the full-on Joker. He escapes from the hospital, and now he's this escaped criminal,
right.
And then he goes on his rampage, and that's how Batman knows him. He's already, whatever it is.
I like to believe that story too.
But here's the thing. Pat brought up a good point. He goes, he was on the car already. That moment on the car with the Jesus pose?
Yeah.
He was the Joker.
He got taken in after that?
He got taken in after that. Now, if he really wanted to, couldn't he have just been a criminal from then on? Where did he get taken in from then?
Right.
So there's so many things that... Also, I think you're right. I think the look of that room and the look of the records room, they don't match.
They don't match.
So it's either something's up, or it's even that's not happening. It's something's up with how pristine that room is and how modern it looks and how fresh it looks.
Yeah.
Is that him years down the road? Is that his original, when he's originally committed and he's thinking this whole entire thing? I'm just saying.
Those footprints, I love that last shot.
Oh, it's so cool. But the other thing is, Todd Phillips said
you're convincing me on that third act bit.
Okay.
But, so aside from that stuff, I loved the build of the movie. Gritty, makes no apologies for this is 1981 New York. It's a dangerous place to be.
You mean you love the setting? The setting was
I love how great was the Gary Glitter song. It was so great.
That was on purpose.
Everything was great. Get out of here, will you?
The fly?
It's like a little fruit fly.
I don't even shoo flies away. I just say, get out of here. Or pigeons. What did she say?
Squirrels. I say, shoo, get out of here.
Get out of here. Sci-fi reference. But that's they did a great job of like broke New York City in the 80s.
I loved all the references. Very taxi cab driver.
Cab driver. You're making a new one?
Yes. A lot of Taxi Driver, a lot of even some Dog Day Afternoon in there. Obviously, there was things to the King of Comedy with Robert De Niro. And also a very blatant reference to Network.
At the end, there's a great shot that's very networky.
Yeah. I have to see it again, and now with like everything I know.
Well, I don't know if you heard me before. Todd Phillips, he says they had something in mind that like an angle on it. They had like one of these things that we're saying is probably true, and they were thinking it as they were filming it, but they're not telling anybody for a while. They're going to wait, and they're going to say, this is what we had in mind. The other reason I think that they might have done that dream thing, at least for part of it, is because then it satiates all the comic book heads. Because then, at the end of the day, he still doesn't have... He's
a pesky little fucker.
Yeah, he still doesn't have a... the fuck? He still doesn't have a origin story.
Yeah.
So that never really was the Joker.
I like that. I'm starting to buy into it.
You know what I mean?
I do. And I'm just thinking about it in my head more and more. I'm going to see it again. I might want to go and watch it in 70 millimeter.
I'd do that.
Downtown.
I'll do that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Because
get a better ratio.
Macintosh wants to see it again, too. Third time we brought
does
it up.
It? I'll go with you. Yeah, I'll go see it again.
But, yeah, I really initially was a fan. I walked out, and I was very satisfied, and I love when that happens in a movie. I start texting other people. I go, you got to go see it. It's great.
Yeah.
So it was just really like a great movie-going experience, and I love when that happens. This is why I love movies, and I love going to movies. Those visceral reactions, and you're
best.
Excited. And
there's some backlash on it, and there's some people.
But yeah, it's like,
that are turning around and saying,
"Are you an adult?"
A lot of people saying I've heard the criticisms are that it's boring. I'm like, it's not boring.
It's not. It's supposed to be. It's not a comic book movie. It's not an action movie. No, it's a character study on a very depressed, flawed indiviadul. Like you got to know what you're getting into.
Yes.
Like, if you don't like that kind of movie, then yeah, you're probably not going to like it because it's a slow. It's really a slow burn. I thought it built perfectly. I really liked the build and the finale. I thought it was a good pace. I
thought it was great.
Joaquin, you can't do better than him right now.
No.
He's so phenomenal. I'd be surprised if he doesn't win, which would be a very cool. I don't think anybody's ever won an Oscar for playing the same quote-unquote character. Heath Ledger won it Best Supporting.
Oh.
If he wins Best Actor, I don't think anybody's ever done that in history, playing the same character.
Yeah, they probably did. Wasn't it De Niro and The Godfather 2, and then did he win for Godfather 2?
No.
Oh, he didn't. Okay. Yeah. No, I think you're right. Then I think nobody's ever done it.
Yeah,
the same character. I think now he's like has
correct me if I'm
great
wrong,
chance of winning. It would actually be, I think overall the consensus is people who dig this movie and they're freaked out by it. The violence is getting to people a lot in it.
It's not that. I mean, it's.
I didn't think it was that bad.
What was so ultra violent about it?
There's shocking. Once again, spoilers. There's shocking. You know what it is? There's so much real world violence in it. When he kills the guy Randall, it's a very actual way somebody would do it.
Maybe a little more.
That's
brutal.
why it's so great, because it's like this thing of well, that's actually how that would go down.
Yeah.
Or when he once again he shoots Robert De Niro on the show live on the talk show. Robert De Niro doesn't start moaning and lean over and have a movie death. He's just dead. He just shoots him dead. Everybody freaks. He goes on with his diatribe, whatever it is, and it's just this really real world feeling thing of that's just really creepy. Everything is creepy.
Yeah.
And they find the humor within the creepiness.
Yeah, and not a lot of. You're not going in for the humor either. It's not a funny movie.
No, it's supposed to be a heavy movie.
There's a little... I think weirdos like us laughed at a few spots that nobody else laughed at.
Yeah, there's a couple of great...
But
it's actually supposed... It's dark funny, but it's supposed to be funny.
Super dark, yeah. But yeah...
The spots I'm talking about.
Go, know what you're getting into. Don't expect it to be anything like the Nolan Batmans, and it's not a Batman movie.
No.
So, and that was the other thing. It was like... I had people immediately, when I posted, I was like, oh, this is wonderful. I loved it so much. People immediately were like, better than Heath Ledger's, better than Dark Knight. I go, yeah, it's incomparable. You can compare the way they portrayed Joker, and I still think I'd give the nod to Heath, but this was a real close second. I loved what he did with this character.
Yeah, I think he did a great job. But and the other thing I wanted to say was what I mentioned earlier about when you said it's called Joker.
I call him Heath, you know.
Yeah, because you're buddies. Well, you're related through Matt Damon. I
call him the Ledge.
But what I was going to say is this. You know, earlier you said it's called Joker, not the Joker.
Right.
That's another reason that I think it might not be. It might the third act might be made up, because then what happens is it's not the Joker. It's Joker because there's a line in it where he says, "Hey, can you call me Joker? You said you called me Joker on your TV."
Yeah.
So the whole thing just could have been like basically this incel type of dude who just like that's another theory that's out there. Well, you know what I'm saying. It's just for lack of me not being able, you know, this fucking virgin. What do you want me to say? You know, loner. Yeah. But here's the thing. For lack of because what happens is he says he calls him Joker or whatever it is, but the movie's not called The Joker. There's another theory that's out there that he's the thing that inspires the Joker to become. That really happened on TV, and then he's the inspiration for whoever actually becomes the Joker.
That's because a good one
it's
too.
Like it's like a copycat. The Joker becomes a copycat.
Yeah. All right. Well, tweet at us, guys. At Defend Your Movie. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you think we're,
let's
off on anything.
Let's have a
your
Joker
takes,
conversation
please.
on Twitter. I want to hear from people who didn't like it, and also to see why you didn't. Really, if you had any kind of anything valid besides it's boring, because it's not boring. It does what it's going to say. It does what it says it does. It's following this character through a fucking journey. This guy, like, you know what it reminded me of was this. Okay, Breaking Bad. That movie comes out tomorrow, by the way, on Netflix. Tomorrow comes out. Yeah, baby. El Camino, which is like their follow up for the Breaking Bad movie.
Does that mean like tonight at midnight, or
I think it sometimes does, sometimes it doesn't.
3 a.m.
Exactly. But the thing about it is this: they told you, "Hey, we're going to turn Walter White from Mr. Chips into Scarface." Okay, they didn't. Yeah. They didn't do that, and I'll explain why. Because even at the end, even though he did some fucked up shit, he was still kind of bumbling at the second to last episode. The last episode, he becomes a criminal mastermind, and the whole thing works out for him.
No, he was a mastermind before then.
When he shoots Mike, and then he realizes he could have gotten the whatever info he needed from somebody else, and he goes,
but all the mastermind stuff that he did to like set up things and like there was
what I'm
diabolical shit going on.
Part of his personality, it wasn't just like
He's still retained. He wasn't 100%.
He wasn't 100%. Right. He didn't flip.
Yeah.
The Joker flips. If you take it linearly...
Definitely.
Linearly. I don't know if that's a word or not, but...
Sure.
The Joker flips. The Joker goes from one point to another. And it's very apparent, and it's very cool to watch. And he does it's subtle enough that the acting's so great that it works. The whole thing works.
Yeah.
So overall, go see this movie. Especially with how many these movies come out. Like, look at The Last Joker was. Look at Jared Leto. That didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? It's like how these movies usually are... And the issues that can come up with them, they nailed it with this.
They have to do a Joker celebrate.
We'll do Joker.
Celebrate Joker.
Celebrate Joker.
All the Jokers.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'll have you on it there, Andy.
Little other plug there for you, too.
Thank you very much. That's my serious satellite radio show.
But yeah, tell us what you guys think. I loved it. 2 thumbs up from old Dutch and Speedy here.
Wait, who's Dutch? Me?
Yeah, you're Dutch. You seem like a Dutch. Nothing about me is Speedy, but
yeah.
How about old Dutch and Cool Breeze?
Why? Because your jeans?
No.
Because you got the hole in your jeans?
Yeah, the front door's open.
Cool Breeze, Dutch and the Breeze.
Dutch and the Breeze.
You're listening to Mornings with Dutch and the Breeze.
Hey, everybody, this used to be Defend Your Movie. Now, Dutch and the Breeze.
So should we get to the meat of the potatoes?
Let's go. You can turn on your radios back to the normal dial for the meats and the potatoes. As teased before, we do a little journalistic matchup right now. I will be defending my top 3, my top 3 favorite movies of all time. The 1976 Sidney Lumet. I can't speak today.
Sidney Lumet.
The 1976 Sidney Lumet Classic Network versus Dutch. Not the movie Dutch.
Not the movie Dutch. Going up against the movie, I think it's 2010 or
13,
something.
I think so. Maybe even 15.
Spotlight.
Yes.
So we're doing it's media versus media.
Media versus media.
It's in very different ways. It's newspaper versus TV. It's sensationalism versus keeping integrity. It's truth versus entertainment. It's you have it's different, but it's also along the same lines. There, they're very different movies, but they're very cool movies, and they kind of they're very true to form, and I took Spotlight. I'm taking Spotlight because the more I think about it, I do like Spotlight better, and I have my reasons, and they have personal... What?
Yeah, it offends me.
Well, you were a diehard network fan.
Deservedly so.
Yeah. Also, here's the thing about Andy. I'll tell you right now. I should say The Breeze. Here's the thing about The Breeze.
Here's the thing about TV.
You love... that's what I like about you. You love this era.
I do. Admittedly so.
So I think that's part of it. Honestly,
okay.
I think that what you call it. I think that network is probably I would say 20 years ahead of its time.
100%.
And it's basically spelling out what's happening now as far as our 24-hour news cycle goes. And I guess CNN probably started a couple of years after that movie was made. So
I don't know when CNN started. If it was that early in the 80s, the network is from 76, which is. You have to give Patty Chayefsky, the screenwriter, and Lumet, the director, credit for how prophetic it was, not only in the 24-hour news cycle, but the brazen quest for ratings and kind of the conception of reality TV.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing until, maybe Survivor is like the first thing, maybe even the Osbournes? I don't know whether remember the very first reality TV show was Real World.
92.
Yeah, okay. But that didn't spawn this just follow everybody around no matter what they're doing. That had a purpose. Real World was an experimental TV show where we actually pick strangers. People have to apply to this TV show, and we're going to pick 8 interesting people and see how they live together, never living that. Had an idea, so it was actually more of a conceived TV show. Rather than just, we're going to follow this stupid rich girl family around no matter what they do. It's just going to be 24 hours a day. We just want to see what they're doing.
Okay, yeah.
Which I know that's what the real world is, but it was you still had to get on the show. You had to make a tape, and you had to be interesting enough for the producers to pick you.
Well, Real World, they casted the Real World, just like they casted.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
But it seemed more of
you're saying more like it's. But if you have the Kardashians or you have Paris Hilton and the other one,
right?
They're making the uninteresting interesting by editing the fuck out of it.
Yes.
And then with Real World, it was a pretty noble experiment. You put people from different walks of life together, and no TV and anything, and see if they can get along.
But that being said, in 1976, Chayefsky wrote that idea into a movie, which was basically, if you haven't seen it, the nuts and bolts of network is they are so soulless. Meaning TV executives, the powers that be, the overriding companies, who was ever in charge, for the almighty dollar, that they will air anything for ratings.
Yeah.
And it draws up to the conclusion of you can literally murder a man on air and have it be okay as long as enough people are watching.
Yeah.
They conceived the idea of killing Howard Beale, the character.
That's later in the movie.
On air. That's
a great scene.
Where they go... Well, they're just trying to. How can we get this guy? He's got a contract, and they're talking
about it. Matter of
you
fact.
And I would be talking about where to go get.
Yeah.
We both went to lunch.
Very important. Very important.
That's old Dutch and TB for you. That's old Dutch and the Breeze. One of you defenders has to make up a Dutch and the Cool Breeze graphic for us.
Oh, now it's Cool Breeze.
It was always Cool Breeze. I'll go with the Breeze.
I'll go for Cool Breeze.
Dutch and the Breeze sounds a little better.
Dutch and the Breeze.
Dutch and the
better.
Breeze.
I love it.
And conversely, in Spotlight, you have them actually digging up a real life horrific scandal, and the Spotlight investigative journalism team,
and they broke
uncovering the Boston and Catholic, to a larger extent, the entire Catholic church's sexual abuse scandal. So one is literally based in reality versus one that is prophetic
But it's
toward reality.
It's a little bit like,
and it seems real because you go, oh yeah, this is the day and age we live in now.
But if you were there back then, it would be a little bit absurdist.
Agreed, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason. That's one of my reasons.
Why yes, you're right. And going back, you go, wow, it's so amazing that they did this because look where we are.
Yeah,
that's just a weird thing to see how society is the day and age we live in made a movie better than it could have already been. Do you understand? Like, they probably didn't know that like a lot of that shit would be coming true.
I bet you they probably had an inkling. I think that maybe like something that we didn't know was going on at the time kind of was foreshadowing, like, this is the way this news is going. Like, maybe they started to realize. I think what did it back in the 70s was the morbid stories taking the front. Yes. The first 5 minutes.
And they reference a lot of things. They reference essentially the Patty Hearst kidnapping. They have another. They spoof it. You know, they have like the PLO and
and then one of the people from that army becomes one of the stars of the network.
Exactly.
And like,
it's
completely.
And she's there with her lawyers or agents. It's like, but you were a guerrilla warfare bank robber.
Yeah. I'll tell you what about Spotlight. Spotlight to me is. I grew up Catholic. I didn't have I never had experiences obviously with the whole molestation thing. Thank God. But
so you told me.
But it's what?
No, I did. I'm the same.
That was just for you, the breeze. But
I'm the same way. I grew up Catholic. We went to church every Sunday, but I never was an altar boy. I gave like a reading one time.
I was like a fill-in altar boy twice. We used to go and do the kids' mass and the regular mass. I had CCD. You probably had CCD, right?
No, because I went to Catholic school.
I was raised in Catholic school. I was like, I didn't go to Catholic school, but we were like pretty involved. My mom is still a Eucharistic minister. She doesn't work a ton anymore, but she was pretty involved in the church after my dad died. So like, it's one of those things where that's a personal aspect of what's going on in Spotlight, and like.
Yep.
And the way they handle it is so real world and real life, and it kind of the acting, anything when you're using New York and or just character actors in general, good big time actors and then character actors, like amazing character actors, I'm on board for your movie. So it's like
okay, so let's do cast because they match up pretty well together. It's an ensemble cast in both films.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna find it hard. Well, you got.
I got the cast.
J.K. Simmons.
They have this is a big cast.
It's a big cast.
Yours is big too, but I don't think
they match up pretty well. And I'll go fucking head to head on
either one. Let's go Mark Ruffalo. Big, he's great in it. And he kind of, I think he's one of those things where like he did his research and like did the mannerisms of the guy. Rachel McAdams, who I love. I think she's fucking great.
Yeah, it's all right.
Good, great actress. I think underrated because she did those some of those comedies and stuff. Yeah. Liev Schreiber. Great actor. Michael Keaton turning into... You putting that up or down? Yeah. Oh. Michael Keaton turning into like you want to... Okay, here's the thing, man.
Like a solid... You're going to look back and go, man, I love Michael Keaton.
Yes. He's making the best fucking choices.
In a more morbid way, when Michael Keaton dies, you're going to go, oh, man, Michael Keaton.
Yes, you are.
It was like Gene Wilder.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you see what Robert De Niro's doing now, and you're like, you would never thought in a million years Robert De Niro would do what he's doing now, as far as like playing the comic in that movie, or even doing the Joker thing and then playing that role. Yeah. But you kind of like held him, like he's kind of come to the middle a little bit.
Yeah,
and Michael Keaton,
some iffy choices.
Michael Keaton is like nailing it. Like Michael Keaton is like real in his old age is like I think picking and choosing what he wants to do.
Absolutely.
And he used to do stand up. His real name was Michael Douglas. Yeah. Stanley Tucci, amazing actor, character actor turned like well known actor. Mm-hmm. John Slattery from Mad Men is great in it.
Yep.
Billy Crudup, amazing actor from Almost Famous. Brian Darcy James, I don't know who that is. Jamie Sheridan, there we go. Here's our New York character actor, the Law and Order guy. Jamie Sheridan, Len Carew, I don't know. Paul Guilfoyle, I don't know.
You got the major hitters.
And then Richard Jenkins, who's amazing.
Oh, yeah, he is great. All right, well, I can... Here's... this is going to be hard. Peter Finch.
He was great, yeah.
Best actor winner.
But yeah, he's amazing. But he's also very 70s.
Okay.
Like, because I'm sure
a lot of these guys, you could say, oh, these guys are very 2000s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess you could, yeah.
Well, also, all right, William Holden. I mean, these are generational actors. These guys these is like old Hollywood.
Yes,
Faye Dunaway.
Yeah, so it's probably a big deal for them to do. Like, maybe you wouldn't have pictured them doing something like this, like if you knew their early career.
Yeah. All right, so Peter Finch won for Best Actor. William Holden won for Best Supporting Actor. Faye Dunaway won for Best Actress. Beatrice Straight, who plays William Holden's wife in the movie, won for Best Supporting Actress, which is crazy, by the way, because I think up until Silence of the Lambs and Anthony Hopkins, how he's only on screen for something like cumulatively like 16 minutes.
Yeah.
I think
she was the shortest.
Held the then, or maybe even still holds the shortest amount of screen time for an Oscar winner, which is crazy because it's a tornado of when she comes in. You know, when he's like, I'm leaving you. I'm in love with somebody else.
I'm going to make a bold statement here. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Even though they won all those awards, the acting, better in Spotlight. The acting, what they're going for, the acting, because... Now, granted, I know...
I mean, Howard Beale? I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore?
No, it's great, but I'm just saying the acting overall as an ensemble...
Dude,
better in
William
Spotlight.
Holden, when he breaks up with Faye Dunaway, that's like
It's
the most
great,
classic
I'm saying-
breakup and acting I've ever seen.
It's a little actory. A little over the top.
This is your opinion. This is why we do this.
All right, cool, yeah. That's one of my points there.
Reduced to the rubble of banality. I mean, it's phenomenal writing, by the way.
It's one of those...
that's the other thing.
I need a dictionary when I hear that speech. I'm not bright enough to watch this movie.
Oof, it's good. That one like gut punches you every time when you just see he breaks her. He breaks Faye Dunaway.
He just like brings it down to
Robert Duvall.
He's great in it. He's great, and he plays like the bad guy, and he's great in it.
A very young, what's her name? I can't think of her. She's a character actor too. Big gal. She's so young in the movie, but it's not going to come to me. Also, who was Squeal Like a Piggy in Deliverance? It's
Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty. Also.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, you're right. They do have a lot of heavy hitters in this. In both movies.
A lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah, I probably way bigger names in Spot in the
Network.
Network, definitely, and also Network did way better. As far as accolades go. 'Cause actually, Spotlight was nominated.
Spotlight won Best Picture. Network did not, and here's what it lost to. Do you know? 77.
Godfather? No. What did it lose to?
Rocky.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
So it didn't win. So the Best Director it didn't win.
It didn't win because John it starts with an
Avildsen.
Avildsen won for Rocky, and Sidney Lumet did not win for.
Wow! Now, do you think you love Rocky too? Do you think that was the right choice?
Yeah, but I love Network more. No, I think Network all around
should have won.
A much better picture than Rocky, and I love Rocky. I don't think it should have lost Best Director either, but they rarely. At that time, it was like a give me if you won Best Picture, you were winning Best Director. It was just lock and step.
I'm going to make myself seem like a jackass when I say this, but I think one of my reasons for why I like Spotlight better is because it's a modern movie. And
that's fair.
And I like it's.
That's a fair reason.
If I watch a movie from back in the day, I'm fine with it now. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that I watched I watched Network in the past year, not even 6 months, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's so 70s. It's just out of that reach where I can't relate to it. Even Caddyshack kind of has that thing to it too, where I'm like,
okay.
Don't get me wrong. I love Caddyshack and I love this movie. I love Network, but Spotlight, I'm like, oh, it's familiar to me. It's in my world.
That's a fair reason because it's obviously it's subjective, so you can obviously have that opinion. For me, I don't need. I can still be... It's like Seinfeld for me. I know that all these problems could be solved with cell phones or whatever, but I take myself out of it and I can still enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's like I don't ever watch... I still can watch Jaws. I don't know. I can still watch all those movies and still romanticize about it. But that's me, babe. That's the breeze.
Well, here's the thing. I think... Overall, the more I think about it, I think you might have won this one because I think as far as inventiveness and originality goes, because you have so
original. You can't go on based on originality because one's literally based on a true story. So originality is not really an argument here. Yeah,
but what I'm saying is when it comes to Spotlight, it's like there's a lot of movies done about the paper. You know what I'm saying? It's like the paper this, the paper that, and this was just a heavy version of that. And then it also opens your eyes to what was going on. Like when they have one of the craziest things in the movie is in the right before the credits.
Yeah,
when they show you the amount of places that had the archdiocese had a scandal, and it's country after country after country and state after state, and it's like, you're a bunch of fucking scum. Like, this is
Right.
you just lose any kind of allegiance.
It's funny too. My dad, a pretty tried and true Catholic, who I watched Spotlight with. And his opinion goes, hang all these bastards by their balls.
Right, exactly.
But then he's going to go to church and pray.
That's the thing. I asked my mom. I said, "Are you from watching it?"
Technically about forgiveness, but he goes, they're sick. They should all be, put to death, hung by their balls. That's what he said.
Yeah,
but
they can go to confession for
sorry
it.
to cut you off, your mom.
I asked her if she was embarrassed, and she said, "Yes, I'm embarrassed." She's embarrassed.
It's hard
it was hard for a lot of Catholics to watch that movie. So it's like emotional impact, Spotlight. Network, as far as like originality goes, as far as like being prophetic and being foreshadowing and like that. It's like, does that beat it out as far as like where it lies in movie history? It's probably Network that wins the whole thing, and because the cast match up, the directing matches up. At the end of the day, directing what?
I mean, Sidney Lumet over can't even name. Come on.
It's Tom McCarthy, and I think he did a fantastic job. I think it's like, I think as long as
when it goes down and when all is said and done,
Network's the one that people
just Sidney
remember.
Lumet over Tom McCarthy is not even going to be a question.
Yeah, but that's also because you don't know. Maybe Tom McCarthy didn't direct something that's going to make him as famous as Sidney Lumet.
No, I guarantee. So when you do Dog Day and Network. Also, back to back. That's the crazy thing. Lumet was churning stuff out.
Yeah, he was killing it. So I think you won this one. I'll concede to you.
You should have seen the eye roll. You should have seen the eye roll I just got from Dutch. That was a Dutch eye roll.
But I do think, like, as far as...
She gave me the Dutch eye roll.
But it's one of those things where, like, it gives it a run for money. It's money. Like,
yeah, I know.
Spotlight. It's one of those things we have to realize, like, we do live in the past as far as movie goes, obviously, because of what you learn from these great movie makers. But also, like, Spotlight has stuff to learn from and movies like that. But I think because we're in the modern age and we have shorter attention spans, we don't pay attention to these things and call them classics when we should. Like, even when they're nominated for certain things. Like, so... Like, even from early 2000s, movies that were nominated for Oscars, like, get forgotten about very easily. And
yes,
then,
yes.
Look at how people...
And how many times have we gotten it wrong where it's like, wait, that wasn't nominated?
Yeah, exactly. Or like the American Beauty thing where now people are turning around and goes, it's actually a movie for dumb people. It's like, well, you're just an asshole because you don't enjoy movies.
That's all it is. Just enjoy movies however you want to enjoy them.
Enjoy movies how you want to enjoy them. But
don't
also,
listen to us or listen to us. This is why we do it. This is why we argue movies.
But as far as film goes, like, at the time of Network, like, those great directors are being heralded as these amazing directors, and you have the Tarantinos now and the Coen brothers and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think they're the ones who'll be remembered later on. But you have to remember like these quality movies of the time,
right? Well, like I said, this was always, and we always do this. It's I like Spotlight a lot, and it's a great movie, and I was happy that it won Best Picture that year.
Yeah.
But for me, it's going to always be hard arguing against Network for me. But you put up a formidable battle, my friend.
I think there's a lot of. I think at the end of the day, if you're wondering what my argument was, the cast is amazing. The emotional connection. It's
a great movie.
I think the real world impact it probably had. The fact that it gave it a run for its money with the Oscars
Absolutely.
as well. I think that it's also not really thought of. A lot of people didn't see Spotlight and should have. A lot of people who probably didn't see it.
And speaking of real world impact, I know reading up on it, preparing for this, it helped a lot of victims come forward after they saw the movie.
See, that's what I mean.
And so that is just a great thing in itself.
There you go.
So, it's a Best Picture winner. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It makes me want to watch it again now.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it before.
Yeah, I've only seen it a couple years ago. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So, well,
thank you,
always
Breeze.
fun, pal. Yeah, Dutchie.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Anything you want to plug there, my friend?
Yes, I'm in the city all weekend. I'm doing a classic run around 4 different comedy clubs.
Oh,
Friday and
what,
Saturday.
1986.
I know. Running around. I got the most Comedy Cellar Friday and Saturday, and Stand Up New York and New York Comedy Club. So check my schedule at andyfiore.com. I'm pretty good about updating it weekly. I got some fun road dates coming up. Thank you to Defender, who reached out to me on DM Instagram Diego Pimentel. He's a great artist. He's going to design a poster for me, which I will be releasing next week. So stay tuned for that. He wrote to me and said, "Hey, I can't wait to hear what you guys think about Joker." So thank you for the shout out, Diego.
I know Diego.
Yeah, he's great, man.
A poster for what?
Super talented artist.
For your show?
Yeah, it's for headlining the November 7th at the Fat Black Pussycat. And
very
he made
nice.
a poster for me, which I'm going to reveal by the time you hear this next week. But he listens. He's a defender, and he said, "Hey, man, I'm really excited to hear what you guys think about Joker."
He's a great dude.
Yeah, so check out his stuff. Diego Pimentel 87, I want to believe.
Yeah.
I want to say. But you'll find him. Just type him in.
I'm this weekend. I have a personal thing. I'm going to Dan St. Germain's wedding.
Our old buddy's wedding.
Our old pal's wedding. So I have shows next week, but I what do I have coming up? I have I'm at the Cellar a couple times next week. Just go to my website, SeanDonnellyComedy.com. I'm at Show Anytime on Instagram and Twitter, and listen to my radio show on Sirius Satellite Radio. That's once a month. It's on the app. It's called Celebrate. It's on Raw Dog. Thank you, guys. Listen, what else?
Just get at us on social media at Defend Your Movie. We know we'll always respond to you guys. We're very interactive with all the defenders and fans. We're going to try and get the what do you call it, Instagram started for the actual show with our guests and everything and shit we do around the city running around. So stay tuned for that. But please tell a friend and spread the word, because we're really trying to make something this Dutch and Cool Breeze.
Yes.
So subscribe and rate.
Mention Dutch and the Cool Breeze. And remember who's who.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah, and email, like you said, Twitter, email, whatever you want to do. Just let us know what you're thinking. Tell your friends. And put us online there. We'll see you next week, and we love you very much.
Guys. Bye.